Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about why your succulents are dying. There are numerous reasons why your succulents could be dying, so today I'm going to list off a few of them for you and different sort of ways on how you can rectify it. Okay, so obviously over and underwatering are, probably the two most common ways to kill your succulents. Now, if you did miss that video, that was last week's video, I'll link it down in the description, maybe try and put an annotation up somewhere. You could also have, really heavy, poor draining soil, which means that the roots are staying wet for too long. And then the two reasons that I'm primarily going to be talking to you about today is the temperature and the lighting. Okay, so before I talk to you about those two methods, I'm just going to quickly touch on the soil So soil without any or with very little drainage material is referred to as heavy soil. So unlike regular plants, succulents actually absorb the moisture around their roots, not actually soaking it up directly through their roots like most regular plants do. So when they sit in water, they generally tend to rot off quite quickly. Now, if you are finding that your soil is quite heavy and it's draining out quite slowly, then you can check out my How to Make Your Own Soil video, where I just touch a little bit on the differences between your summer soil and your winter soil, and my mixes for those two different kinds of soils that I use and why I use those two different types. Now, getting onto temperature, most succulents are from drier desert-like regions, or some do come from the rainforest, but because of that they do like the warmer climate, so it is safe to say that cold temperatures aren't really succulents friends. Now obviously I have all my succulents on a windowsill, and succulents on windowsills are particularly at risk over winter because obviously the barrier between the window isn't as thick and dense as the barrier between a wall. So you'll find, even if you don't have plants on your windowsill, if you touch your windowsill in the winter, it will be quite cold to touch, a lot colder, and that area would be a lot colder than the rest of your house, unless you've got a heater near your window, which I don't. Our heater is actually behind our TV at the moment because we've just got a bit of an awkward layout for the living room. So our actual heater in the living room is on this side, whereas my plants are obviously here. So in the winter, I'm definitely going to be raising my temperature up in the house a lot more. Most succulents are safe to around 10 degrees Celsius. I don't even know what that is Fahrenheit. I'll stick it up somewhere. Except for some hardy sedums and sempervivums. Sempervivums are amazing. I say it on my Instagram. I've said it in person. I don't know, I haven't said it on this channel yet, but for sure, sempervivums are the most underrated succulent. They are. You can leave your sempervivums out all year long. Even in England, sempervivums are great for outside if you want to use them in a rockery or just like in a plant bed. Whatever you want to do with them, if you just want them in a big pot, they are fine. They can be snowed on, they can get frost, it doesn't matter. I have sempervivum on my garden wall, and when we moved here, it was in, when I moved here, it was in the middle of winter, and it was snowing and all of that, and yeah, completely fine. It snowed over them, and we had snow for a couple weeks. It's rained like crazy, all through spring, especially April, and yet some survived great. So sempervivums and some hardy sedums will be fine regardless of the temperature. Now I would definitely recommend putting a thermometer on your windowsill, just like either a digital one or one of the old style ones. It's entirely up to you, but yeah, over winter I would definitely have a thermometer on your windowsills, maybe even because mine's a bay window, so it's got one big window, as you've seen in my plant tours, and if you haven't, go check them out. But because I've got the three, obviously they get different amount of sunlight throughout the day, so I'll probably have one in the middle, and then maybe one big digital one, because I've got a digital one anyway, and then maybe two just regular ones on the other two windowsills, just so that I've sort of got a read of them all. Now light. Now it isn't actually known that well, but I thought I'd bring this up because I was just recently talking to one of my followers about it. She lives in Germany, and she had an issue where she basically lost her plants, all the leaves fell off her plants over winter, and she said that she wasn't getting a lot of light. Now, when I first started getting succulents, I didn't actually realize that light was as big an issue for them until I made my first few plants at AL8, and then I learned my lesson. But I didn't actually realize that they can, die from the lack of light. And it was only after doing research on it that I actually knew anything about it. And then having spoken to one of my followers, it made me research it again. And it turns out you can actually lose your plants from lack of light. If you've got it in a really dark room, like an Echeveria especially, if it etiolates too much and it gets to a certain point, it just gives up. Now, if you are having your succulents indoors most of the time, like I do, only because I don't have my garden. So yeah, if you do have most of your plants inside and not in your garden, and especially in winter, you want to find, really for most of them, most succulents, especially Echeverias, you want to find a south-facing window, because that will get the most light throughout the course of the day. Obviously in winter the sun is lower down in the sky, so, and it's not as long either, so you know, you've got a later sunrise and an earlier sunset. So the amount of sun anyway is a lot shorter, and then the height of the sun is lower. So over winter, I would definitely recommend getting some grow lights, or even just like a little spot grow light, and you can have a few different plants and make a little arrangement and stick that arrangement under there, just ready to be taken apart in spring. It really depends on what you want to do. Me personally, I'm going to be getting a temporary grow light set up, just, you know, one designed for a small sort of flat like I'm in. So yeah, that'll be going up in the next couple months when I start putting mine together. My plants will be alright for now because I do have a south-facing window. Well, it's mainly south-facing. It's a little skew-if, but yeah, it's mainly south-facing and it gets quite a bit of light. Although I do have a giant wisteria like growing all around the windowsill, which I've cut back maybe 6, maybe 7 times this summer. What? I hate it. I'm never, ever, ever, ever living anywhere that has a wisteria growing again, because that's the only sun-facing window, and thankfully it is south-facing, but it blocks a lot of the light. It's actually ridiculous. Now, obviously, with in terms of light and them killing your succulents, you should notice it before it gets that far. To be honest, you know, once the plant starts etiolating, you know that it's not getting enough light. For it to get to the point where it would die, I mean, unless there's nothing that you can do at that point in time, you know, I feel like you would notice it. Obviously, the main warning sign of not enough light is etiolation, which is the stretching and elongating of plants. And if you want to check out how to fix any of your plants that may have stretched, I do have a video for that as well, and that link will be in the description as well. But yeah, guys, that is all I have time for you for today. If I missed anything that you wanted answered, please do just leave me a comment below, or you can check me out on Instagram at KaiSucks, and you can leave me a message on there, comment on one of my posts. I mean, people are always asking me for advice on there, so do feel free, I don't mind. And if you want me to make a video on something a bit more in depth, or if you really want to know something you want me to make a video on, do leave me a comment below, let me know, and I love to hear from you guys. Now, if you did like the video, please do like, comment, and subscribe. And if you do want to be notified of my posts, then please head over to my channel, click on that little bell icon, and you'll be notified every single time I upload. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Bye.